Hi, I'm Kirby Allison, and it's that time of year again where many of the world's best and most talented bespoke shirt makers and shoemakers begin their fall travel trunk show schedule. So in today's video, I'm going to review some of these firms, go through their dates, and talk a little bit about what makes each of these firms special and unique. Now, one of the things I love about London, of course, is that you have access to these incredible heritage firms that do their work at the absolute highest level. But for those of us that aren't able to travel to London regularly, they would otherwise be inaccessible to us if it weren't for their trunk shows. Now, the trunk shows are something that are as old as the Savile Row bespoke tailoring firms themselves. Really, since the early 1900s, these firms have been traveling to the United States, originally on steamers, literally with trunks, to visit their U.S. clientele. Now, luckily today, with the advent of modern air travel, they're able to come more frequently and visit more cities. Now, that's extended this offering into the United States in a way that previously wasn't able to be enjoyed for us Americans. So first off, let's start with bespoke shirt makers. Now, there's two shirt makers in this list. First, of course, is Bud Shirtmakers. Located in the Piccadilly Arcade, a firm, as I mentioned earlier, that we've done a lot of work with. Now, what I like about Bud is they are as classic and iconic of a London-based shirt maker as it comes. Their aesthetic is very British, and 100% of their shirts are actually cut on premises at their Piccadilly Arcade location, just right upstairs. We will be releasing soon, if it hasn't already been released by the time this video is edited, a video of Darren actually drafting my pattern out by hand, done on premises, and then the fabric is cut out, bundled up, and then sent to Andover to be sewn. It's an absolutely fantastic bespoke product. They also do bespoke robes, they do bespoke pajamas, and they've got an incredible line of other clothing accessories, bow ties, everything that you need for formal wear that you can purchase either in London on the Piccadilly Arcade or on their website. So Bud Shirtmakers will be traveling with the London Collective September 28th through October 18th, visiting San Francisco, Los Angeles, Austin, Chicago, Boston, Washington, D.C., New York, Palm Beach, and Philadelphia. Next, we have Wil Whiting. Another good friend of mine. Wil represents this new generation of bespoke tailors that are doing work at the absolute highest level. Now, Wil is just absolutely obsessive in his approach to his craft. I mean, his attention to detail, not just in the pattern making, but in the make of the shirt itself, is unlike anything I've ever seen. I have several shirts from him that I am just completely satisfied with. His level of service and the make, all those details really are just extraordinary. Now, one of the things that I like about Wil, of course, is that he has a full machine-made product, which would be similar to what you would find from other bespoke shirt makers, but he also has a fully handmade product, which is really unheard of whenever it at least comes to British-based shirt makers. Now, Wil travels with Daniel Wegan of clientele Shoemakers, and they'll be here October 14th through the 23rd, visiting New York, Houston, Dallas, Los Angeles, and San Francisco. Up next, we have Bespoke Shoemakers, and now everyone that knows this channel knows that I absolutely love bespoke shoes. The quality, the craftsmanship, the tradition that goes into the creation of a handmade pair of shoes is really something extraordinary. And we have an extensive amount of content on this channel, really opening up and exposing that craft. If it's something that you're open or interested in learning more about, I would encourage you to take a look at those videos. We have extensive videos, not just with different makers, but different parts of the process, all the way through a pair of shoes actually being made. Now, first and foremost, we have Gaziano and Girling. Gaziano and Girling is run by Tony Gaziano and Dean Girling, two absolutely famous shoemakers. Tony being well renowned for his last making, and then Dean for his shoemaking. The two of them joined forces a little bit over 15 years ago and really made quite a splash whenever they reinvented or updated that classic English silhouette. Their Goodyear welted factory-made shoes are benchmarks for quality craftsmanship and tradition. Their work is done at the highest level, but it has an updated aesthetic that really has just made them very famous. Now, their bespoke work is as high as it gets. Tony and Dean are directly involved in the bespoke process again. Tony, of course, doing the last making, and then Dean overseeing the construction. And so it's really a profound opportunity to have them make shoes for you. I just had my first pair of bespoke Gaziano Girlings delivered. Again, you can follow that entire process on this channel. And I have to say, they are just absolutely fantastic shoes. Not only amongst my most comfortable, but my most beautiful that I own. So again, you can see these shoes on the channel for yourself and determine if that's something that you're interested in. Now, Gaziano Girling is traveling with the London Collective September 28th through October 18th, visiting San Francisco, Los Angeles, Austin, Chicago, Boston, Washington, D.C., New York, Palm Beach, and Philadelphia. Now, it's worth noting that during these trunk shows, if you're interested in a made-to-order pair of shoes, you can meet with them for that. So it's not just for bespoke shoes with regard to Gaziano Girling. Next, we have John Lobb. The original John Lobb, the one that's based on St. James's Street. They, of course, are the standard bearer of bespoke shoemaking in the world, really. I mean, they are the oldest firm that is still continuously family run in operation today. They are, for all intents and purposes, considered the Rolls-Royce or gold standard of bespoke shoemaking. Now, we have filmed extensively with John Lobb. We have a full 60-minute feature piece where we are invited inside John Lobb that really is just a beautiful piece about that firm's history and heritage. So if you haven't seen that, it's just one of our banner pieces on this channel that I would absolutely recommend you take a look at. Now, John Lobb, of course, is located on St. James's Street. Is different than John Lobb Paris, which is owned by Hermes. They also have a bespoke offering, so it's important to kind of differentiate those two. John Lobb only does bespoke shoes, and they're based on St. James's Street in London. So John Lobb travels to the United States in 2 trips in this next round of trunk shows. The first one, October 7th through 20th, will be with William Lobb, who is one of the 3 brothers involved in the firm today. William will be visiting New York, Boston, Chicago, San Francisco, and Kansas City. And then November 7th through 19th, Jonathan Lobb will be visiting New York, Washington, D.C., Beverly Hills, Dallas, and Atlanta. On each of those trips, they hit New York in the beginning and the end, so New York, you've got good coverage there with John Lobb. Up next, we have Dominic Casey. Now, Dominic Casey is a dear, close friend, another person that we've filmed extensively with on this channel. Dominic is unique in that he's, I guess what you would call a bench-made bespoke shoemaker, if you will, in that he does the entire process himself, from the last making to the pattern making to the actual making of the bespoke shoes. Amongst all of the shoemakers that we cover on this Trunk Show Roundup, he's the only one doing it from start to end. Now, the only drawback is that it limits the number of clients he is able to accept, and because of that, he doesn't really travel as extensively as some of these other bespoke shoemakers. So he just travels to New York. You can see him in London, of course. He travels a little bit in Europe, so if you're based in Europe and are interested in having Dominic make something for you, you can reach out to him directly. And he has told me that he has a few slots open for new clients on this next trip. So if you're interested in giving Dominic Casey a try, I would encourage you to reach out to him as soon as possible. Now, Dominic will be in New York City December 8th through 10th, and then he'll be back in March for fittings. So Dominic, a dear close friend, he's done several pairs of shoes for me, and if you're interested in learning more about Dominic, of course, just search for him on this channel. We have an extensive number of videos with Dominic. Next, we have Daniel Wegan. One of the world champions of shoemaking. He now runs Catella Shoemaker, and he'll be traveling here to the United States with Wil Whiting, as I said earlier, October 14th through the 23rd, visiting New York, Houston, Dallas, Los Angeles, and San Francisco. Now, Daniel is an absolutely exceptionally talented shoemaker, world champion, literally, and is doing work at the absolute highest level. Again, we have a lot of videos with Daniel. If you're interested in learning more about him, just search for him on this channel. Up next, we have Nicholas Templeman. Now, Nicholas Templeman is unique in that he was probably the first of the bespoke shoemakers really to break out and go on his own as an independent. He was trained with John Lobb. We've got a video of him being interviewed on this channel that you can take a look at. And he has just a really great, very balanced approach towards his shoemaking. Does an absolutely fantastic product, uses some of the best outworkers to do his work. And Nicholas, of course, is the last maker, so he's going to be the one taking your measurements and then carving the last. You can see a lot of this work on his Instagram profile. So his dates aren't quite set yet, but he'll be traveling October and November of this year, visiting Washington, D.C., New York, Dallas, Houston, San Francisco, and Los Angeles. And the next new addition, Berluti, Paris. Again, a Parisian-based shoemaker that we just recently had the opportunity to film with at their Bespoke Atelier in Paris whenever I was there last. And I have to say I was thoroughly impressed. Their Bespoke last maker, Jean-Michel, is without question doing work at the absolute highest level. What's unique about Berluti is that their shoes are made 100% in their atelier. Again, we filmed a factory tour that we'll be publishing soon. I thoroughly enjoyed Jean-Michel's tour of the Bespoke Atelier, and I have to say I was incredibly impressed just with the control that Jean-Michel is able to have over the entire creation of those shoes, because everything's done right there. And then second, I was just blown away by the level of the creativity that they're able to design their bespoke models. I mean, of course, they can do a classic black Oxford lace-up, cap-toe Oxford, but if you have just a wild idea for a bespoke shoe, Berluti is able to realize that and bring it into existence at the highest level. So Berluti is an interesting bespoke shoemaker based in Paris that, you know, if you're interested in experimenting with a Parisian shoemaker, I would absolutely recommend. They travel to the United States 4 times a year, visiting Miami, New York, Los Angeles, and Orange County. Really the way that they design their trunk shows is to be able to deliver a pair of shoes in 6 months, right? So whenever you meet with them initially, they'd take the bespoke measurements. 3 months later, they would bring a trial shoe for you to try on. And then at month 6, they would actually be able to deliver a pair of bespoke shoes. So pretty efficient, and is one of the benefits of the fact that they have a pretty narrow range of cities that they visit very consistently. And then last, but certainly not least, we have the Last Shoemaker. That's literally their name. Alan, who is someone that we interviewed at the Super Trunk Show in London, is based in Thailand and probably has one of the most approachable bespoke shoe offerings that I've seen, starting at just $1,450, so right under $1,500. A fully bespoke process, hand welted, bespoke measurements. Now, I don't have any personal experience with Alan, but I've seen his bespoke samples and they all look very nice. And we've got this interview on the channel if you're interested in learning more about what Alan does. He travels here in the United States October 6th through the 17th, visiting New York, San Diego, and Los Angeles. So that's it for our fall 2022 Bespoke Trunk Show Roundup. I hope that you enjoyed this video. Again, this is just a small sample of all of the incredibly talented bespoke artisans that are out there. These are the ones we have worked with. If you're interested in being included in any of our future videos, just direct message me on Instagram or send us an email, and we'd certainly love to consider you for inclusion in our list. I hope that you've enjoyed this video. If you're watching this for the first time, make sure you visit kirbyallison.com. Of course, this is how we support all the content that we film on this channel. There you'll find the largest collection of luxury garment care and luxury shoe care accessories in the world, as well as other great clothing accessories like this new mock grenadine tie that I'm wearing right now. This is a new edition offered in baby blue, pink, and silver. This is woven, it's a jacquard woven to look like a grenadine. We had these made because these are 3 beautiful colors that you can't find as a proper grenadine. So take a look at those. And then of course, if you haven't joined our Patreon page, take a look at that. This is another great way to support the content, especially our travel content that we film here on this channel. 100% of those proceeds go to support our ability to travel, to visit these incredibly talented, independent craftspeople doing work at the highest level, and then bring that to you here on this YouTube channel. For a small donation each month, you're given access to exclusive benefits and the like, so more details on that on our Patreon page. Otherwise, I'm Kirby Allison, and I love to help the well-dressed acquire and care for their wardrobes while exploring the world of quality, craftsmanship, and tradition. Thanks for watching.